Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. This is actually a very, very late review. I mean, there were a couple of reasons. The obvious one is obviously all of us were a little down. I mean, I'm putting it lightly when I'm saying a little down after the game, but we were a little bit down, and it took us some time to, rewatch the game, come to terms with what happened, and all those things. The other reason was obviously there were other games that was happening in the PL, and with our new improved away Gunners, we have been trying to cover other games too. So that pushed it a little bit, but nonetheless, we are here. We are here to review the game and also talk about the game week 3. With me today, I have Ellen with me. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Picasso.
And
Good to be
Arun,
back.
and Arun, who's shy today. Hi, Arun.
Hello.
So before we start, the usual stuff, please do like, share, subscribe, and comment in. And I mean, if you want to be part of this talking group, you're welcome. You can always join us. You can always reach out to us, and more speakers are always welcome. We are also planning to make a transfer episode soon, transfer deadline episode soon. So if you want to come in and talk in that, please do let us know. That'll be great. And what's the other thing around? Subscribe and press the bell icon. Yes.
Yeah. To get regular notifications and become
Ye-
a part of our family.
Yes. So let's start with the obvious one. It's been a couple of days. It's given me at least a little bit of, a chance to retrospect myself as an Arsenal fan, what I'm thinking, because on that day around, it was all, everything was doom and gloom. Nothing was feeling like, okay, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like it just felt like this is the end, even though it's not. It's just third game. It's just like I see that now, but that day's reaction, when the game got over, when we, drew with 10 men Fulham, when they equalized with the 10 men, we just felt really, really bad. What do you feel right now about that game?
To be honest with you, I did not have that feeling of gloom and doom. I did because again, it's like the third game of the season. So it's still a long way to go, like this. No point like Brighton were at the top of the table, last week. Nobody said they were going to be title contenders, So it's just the third week. There's still a long way to go. So I didn't feel that feeling of us have everything gone, everything is gone, or everything is done and the season is done and down to dust. I didn't feel that way. But for me, it just gave me a few questions, raised a few doubts in my mind that I feel I shouldn't be having at this stage because of all of the cohesion and gelling and fluidity and dynamism that we had in our game last year. So I don't know if it's because of the fact that I've gotten so used to that right now what I'm seeing is not comfortable for me. At least that's the word I would use. I wasn't comfortable. I was a bit uncomfortable watching the game. But then again, if you have to think rationally, this is sort of like a growing pain that we have to endure, in order to fit in all the players that we bought and give them game time and everything. But yeah, fans
mean,
don't think rationally, right?
No, I mean,
If
it's not
you
even.
think rationally, you're not a fan anymore.
Yeah, it's not even. I mean, I am not a rational thinker, so everyone knows that. But the thing is, I mean, for me, more than that, this, last season when we were even I was talking to some people in the pub that I was watching the game, right? Like, the reason people were being so negative this season, at least for me, and from the experience of talking to a couple of people, I felt like last season, even during the preseason, we felt that the team was something special, was doing something special. Whether we expected, oh, we are going to be title contenders, no, not really. But still, we saw that the team was forward. It was like moving in a way that we identify as the Arsenal movement, or like, something like that. And that we didn't get it this time. We didn't feel that even in this preseason and a couple of games. So it kind of was like, okay, are we seeing this? Oh, I'm just pushing the negative thoughts aside for the, Community Shield game, the first game, the second game. Oh, at the end of the day, we are playing bad, but we are getting 3 points. So when we didn't get the 3 points, the playing bad kind of like, exaggerated. Ellen, do you get what I'm saying? Like, not playing
Yeah,
well.
yeah, I understand. See, I think like whatever we are seeing now, right, is more because of Timber's injury. Because see, if you're not going to start,
That's not
let
the
me
reason, right?
finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. See, Gabriel, if you're not going to start him, right, we wouldn't have played with that formation and everything during our preseason. See, we would have started the experiment at preseason itself because we signed many of our players a lot before, unlike the previous years. So definitely, let's see. I think the idea was like Timber will play on the left back, and then like Partey on the right back for a few games, and then right like once Zinchenko comes, then Zinchenko will play in left back and Timber in right back, and then Saliba and White as like our centre back pair. I think that was the idea we had. And Timber's injury, right, has
But
made
why
sure
why
that
is that our idea? Gabriel is still our player. We bring him for the previous
see,
game when we are
if
10
you
men
want to,
down.
let me finish. If you want to like win against the current City team, you should be ready to play in always.
But the thing is, okay, I get this, Ellen. Okay, and I took 2 days to, come in terms with what people are saying. Yeah, we need to be able to play all the ways. But the thing is, we need to play the way that we are best first, and then add other ways to it. Not like
Okay.
lose what we are in the first place.
No. The same thing when we started with Ben White as right back, right? We all said the same. Now we are arguing that Ben White should be in right back. It was exactly the same. Why are you playing a centre back as a right back when we have like other right backs? That was the exact thing we were saying as last year.
Yes.
And we saw how it worked out with Saka and like Ben White like having a very good understanding. See, but Ben White, right, had its shortcomings in that position, which we have discussed in our pod itself many times. That is why Timber playing in that area, right, like would have like elevated, and like was something they have taken, and now they have to experiment because of that. And like if the experiment fails, right, like it is not going to be like we are going to like continue with the same. We will again revert back to our old ways, which we know has worked in the past. But like if this works, right, like it will give you a lot more options. And another thing, right, like we fans, right, are always like focused on like last few games week only. See, we were saying like, why are you not playing Prasad till this game week? And today, like fans were complaining, why were you playing Prasad? Like you should have played Nikitia. It's the same fan like who was saying like Prasad is in good form. Why are you not even giving him chance? So it is always
that is what we are, and that is what I
agreed.
am
See,
too.
agreed. And same, right? Like another issue is like with awards. We are complaining him more. But I'll ask one simple question. Last year, Pep got a Grealish signed for 100 million. He didn't even play him for a long time. Can we do that with like our big signings?
No, we cannot. We are
Will the
not.
fans allow? See, the issue is for certain system to work right, the player needs to like practice a lot. And Pep doesn't start that player unless, right, like he starts like playing in that system very well. Even if it's 100 million, like say Calvin Phillips, like was a superstar in Leeds and England. He didn't even play much last year. Even now, like we are seeing the Kovacic and others playing in that position and not Calvin Phillips. So that is the way like Pep plays. And like he can do that, like even if he's costly player or anything. If Arteta like doesn't start hours for like say 2 months, there will be a lot of questions against him.
So the thing is,
that is a problem. So he has to experiment that, and like that experiment, right, will not yield result until there is complete chemistry between the player. We've got a lot of new players, and that will take time. And if you don't play him, we are going to blame him. If you play, also you are going to blame him. So like what he can do.
Okay, so I'm not being negative here. Like, so the question is, right, like, yes, he is the couple of things. First thing, yes, we need to find other ways to play, just not one way. But the thing is, that is not at the sacrifice of that one way which works, right? Like, we can experiment, we can try other ways, but not at the expense of points and how we play. Second thing for me is like Arun, this one about Havertz. Yeah, we cannot do what City does. Like Ellen said, definitely that's 100%. We cannot do what City does, which is make a player sit down. But we can also not start him. We saw that like in this game, and this is time for me to like gloat a little bit and also he praise. In this game, there was a 20-minute cameo from Fabio Vieira, and he was absolutely brilliant. I'm not saying, oh, you should have started Fabio Vieira, but there are players, is what I'm trying to say. And there are like players who could turn everyone's opinion in 20 minutes. So like when Fabio Vieira, who was berated by all Arsenal fans, this season start
Not me.
yeah, I mean
Not me.
most of them, yeah. But like a lot of them wanted him to be sold this year. But he comes in, plays now 20 minutes. He has turned most of the fans around. Most of them are saying, yeah, he's a good player right now, right? And it could change. Another 20 minutes, it could change. But what I'm saying is that's how long it takes for fans to work, or fans to get behind a signing, get behind a player. We could do that with the Havertz. We could have started with the starting 11, bring him on for 20 minutes, and he could have had an impact. That would have been a better idea at integrating a player into a system, especially a system that we are changing so much. Like Ellen said, we are changing it because of injuries, because of a new way of playing, and all those things. Why we have to complicate it with another player change, right?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but then like the reasons why the players were bought in and the statuses that were given to them were totally different in the two cases that you just mentioned. Vieira was brought in last year to be a squad player. He was not brought in to be a starter. He was supposed to like get his time, get integrated into the team, and then start playing. Havertz, on the other hand, has been brought in as a starter, and was mentioned by the manager to be the replacement for Xhaka. So there is a big difference in there in terms of like, having this player start, have him integrate into the team and start playing faster than the time that we could afford to give to Fabio Vieira. Again, the second thing is also that um, last season, like this might sound very paradoxical, but last season we did not have pressure. So like, there was no sort of like compulsion to play Fabio Vieira. Also, the price tag also helped. But then, like, we were focused with the 14, 15 players that we had, and they never got an injury. And, like, it was more about being in the title race for last season. Whereas, like, this season, with the high price tag, new player coming in, who you would ideally expect to, like, fit in like a glove with him having already played in the league. It's like the pressure is more on the manager from all fronts, and that's the reason why I see like he's playing him. But you're right, ultimately the idea is to gain as many points in the beginning as you possibly could, so your journey through the season is easier. But like I said, it's not something that I really like what is happening right now, but I see that it's like a pain that we have to go through. But I really hope the manager, like, manages to sort of like find a way by which we can get the 3 points no matter how we play or what we do from that game while making all of these changes or tweaks or whatever he's been making. That's my only concern at this point. Like, I don't want to point fingers at individual players or things like being changed for that one particular player, but it's the manager's job right now. Like, what the expectations are. You are supposed to be like, in the title challenge, and I don't know if there would be like, a better situation than what we have right now with like, the likes of KDB injured for a long time for City, Chelsea, and like, Tottenham just like coming up, like, developing their teams, and United still uncertain and all that. So it would be a great chance for us to maximize. I'm not saying this is the best chance for us to win the league. I don't believe in that argument, but I believe this is a great chance for us to maximize the amount of points that we get at the beginning of the season. So for me, it's about get as many points as you can while doing it. And if you're not able to do that, again, it's just one game. I really don't worry about like, the style of play at this point. Yeah, like it has not been fluid, but for me, it's the points. I even mentioned elsewhere that like, as I think I told this in the last episode too, as long as we are like churning out 1-0 wins, I don't mind. It doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be pretty. All that I need is 3 points. in the situation that we are in right now, trying to give chances to Havertz. But if that breaks and we see that breaking over, say, like 2 or 3 weeks, like 2 draws or 3 draws or 2 losses, then that's sort of like a point to start panicking. So that's where, like, I believe the manager would have to make a decision as to what he wants to do, whether he wants to give time for Havertz right now, or once we get into the European Cup competition group stages, or like, the FA Cup or whatever it might be, because you shouldn't be dropping points at home against 10 men Fulham.
Exactly.
Their only attacking threat has left them. And we made them look way more threatening than what they normally are, which was, again, I don't know if that could be pointed to one player. It was like everybody was bad in that game.
Yeah,
Starting from-
I'm not looking to blame anyone in this game.
Oh, that's the
Even
thing. Like, for me, it all boils down to the manager at this point. Like, it's no point blaming the player. So it's like, starting from Saliba to Saka, everyone was bad in the match. So bad in that game. So I don't know if whatever the manager's doing is like affecting their usual style of play, or like Ellen said, it's something that they should learn. It's a new style of play that they should learn. But that's how football evolves, right? So yeah, it's right now. It's just only with the initial, like, the points that we are dropping. That's what worries me. But apart from that, like, yeah, I'm okay if we keep getting like 3 points, playing ugly and winning ugly. I don't mind that.
Yeah, Ellen, like, getting back to the actual game, the 2 goals that we conceded are like, I'm not blaming anyone, and I don't think it's fair to blame, like, oh, this player was the individual mistake or whatever, but it is individual mistakes that cost us, like, 2 goals. And it's been like, for me, the worrying factor is we are shaky, not just in defense in this season and stuff, but we have been shaky at home for quite some time. Is that a concerning factor? Is that something that we need to change? Because we know that the best teams, the Cities, the Liverpools, the Uniteds, when they go on this runs, they usually have their home as the fortress. Is that something that is concerning? Is that something that we need to fix? I mean, obviously we need to fix, but is that concerning a little bit?
A lot. It concerns me a lot. The reason being, right, like, see, during Wenger's final stages, right, like, see, we used to be good at, or like medium at home, but like, if you see the fans at the time, right, they were not big in the team much. But now, right, like, the fans are like a 12th player. That is what I'll say. Like, we get that much of support. So the opponent teams, right, like, say you go to Anfield, you get that feeling that like the fans are also playing against you. We are creating such kind of atmosphere, the fans. And in that kind of thing, right, it should actually motivate the team to go to that extra mile. I don't see that. Like, this was a concern last season also, but I thought like that was a transitioning season where the fans were also starting to support and the teams were also doing. But like, when I see the same thing, see, I feel there is some sort of spirit missing. I don't know why, but like, I get that feel like in the home games, like, I expect some sort of like with the fan support and everything. The players, like, I'm seeing few players showing that kind of spirit. Maybe these players are all more introverts. Maybe that is why I'm not seeing it. But like, the performance is also not reflecting. So that's a small concern I have. But like, as I said, like, I will have to wait and watch. Like, at least like some 6-7 games into the week, then only I can say whether I have to worry or not. Now this is very early stage. Like, even if you take City, right, they were struggling against Sheffield, and like, until the injury time, like, it was like a 1-1 draw. Like, it was going that way with all those riches, and like the champion team, City, is like an under Pep. They were also struggling. So I don't want to go with just 2-3 games data, like how we are playing bad or good. I want to say 6-7 games. Maybe like the second international break, right, will be the time like where I will like try to see whether we are playing good. But at the moment, it is like a slight concern. Our home form, like the last season, as well as this season, we have started the same way. The even more worrying trend is like we have considered, I think, like first minute goal in like
goals,
three of the last 9 home games.
Yep.
It's like 3 of the 9 home games, and we cannot like blame Ramsdale also because the keepers will be standing very upfront only during the kickoff.
No,
And like,
there is no blame on any single individual
no,
player.
that is
Like,
what I'm
people,
saying. So like,
I've seen Twitter and everywhere where people are blaming, like, oh, why are we not blaming Saka because because he is the star boy. He has rescued us so many
no, it
times.
does like, yeah, it does just a mistake like in one game. But
Yeah.
the problem is like, except I think like one of the games, the other 2 games we considered mistakes. So I'm little worried because in the past, right, we take some time to get our concentration. Initial few minutes, like our first 5 minutes, we doesn't play the usual way. that got stopped last year, but I'm having worries whether it is coming back again to the team.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Yeah, we do remember even in our podcast talking about it. But Arun, on the flip side, both the goals scored. The we were talking about like manager and substitutions and stuff. It was great substitution for me to bring on Fabio Vieira. I mean, obviously retrospect it looks good right now because it worked, but Fabio Vieira and Eddie Nketiah both played like men possessed.
He should have started that game. I don't understand why Eddie was dropped. It made no sense to me. He should have started that game. Like Eddie is the kind of player I mentioned last episode too. The more continuously he plays, the more confidence he gets. And like he has, you see like a totally changed new player now. Like his movement, his hold up play, link up play, the way in which like he is able to uh pass the ball. Even his intelligence, everything seems to be like different right now. So for me, he should be getting more chances. And like he was hungry, he wanted to prove, and that's what he did. So I was really happy with the way in which both Fabio and Eddie played. Hopefully, this is a start of something for Fabio where he can like increase these substitute minutes from like 15 20 minutes, because right now we have this new extra time rule where we're going to be needing more bodies. More players will get more minutes. So hopefully he converts this from 15 20 minutes to like 30 minutes to a full half and becomes a starter. No, that's the kind of competition that we want in the team, and this is what I expected from him too. Like I knew he would take a little bit of time. Maybe like we didn't have the liberty of playing him in more competitions last season because of how we left. But I know like we were kicked out of the competitions. But like yeah, I think this would be the season where we'll probably be like seeing more of him, the best of him, I would say. Like I really like him. He's a player like who sort of like he's one of those old school players that we don't see sort of anymore.
Yeah,
Which
he's a proper number 10 actually.
Exactly. Yeah. So like it's very nice seeing someone like that who's still able to do the defensive duties. So I'm really looking forward to this season from him. I was very excited when he came on. The game's pace changed completely. It's like we brought Eddie and Fabio in. So I'm like really looking forward to more performances from these two in the league as well as in the cup games.
Awesome. I mean, those two were the standout performers for me. But there was also like, one more player who I was very impressed with, but from Fulham side, Paulinho, the midfielder, he scored too. But I mean, he did play well, right? Or is it because of like, even though we had Rice,
No, he was really
Partey,
good. He
yeah,
was really good.
and not just now. I thought like even last season he was really good. Maybe Ellen, you might know something about like this player because FPL back to front.
Yeah, no, he used to perform decently for Fulham, and like, see, as soon as like I think he was injured at the beginning of this season, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw his name in the game, right, I was thinking he's back against us again. And like, I was expecting him to do something in that game because like some players, right, like we always like worry against Arsenal, they might bring the rain game, and Paulino is one such kind of person. And like he scored also on that day, which was an equalizer. And see, generally, right, like if you see this season, once a team goes into 10-man, right, they are becoming more dangerous than before. You just saw Liverpool game like where they went like into 10-man after McAllister's red card and they immediately scored. Same thing happened like in this game also. I saw one other game where like the same thing has happened. Or like 10-man like are very difficult to break nowadays. Like in the past, like we can say they're just 10-man, we can try to score. But like Wenger has like said it many times, like it is difficult to break a 10-man rather than 11-man because they will be defending more. And that is exactly what we are seeing. But like even in defending, they are doing some counter attacking, and that is working well in this season at least, like at the beginning. So Paulino coming back to him, like this was expected performance from him, and like he did a really really good job.
Okay, but anything else to add for this game, guys? Because I don't have anything to talk. Because I mean, couple of things. First is it's been some time, so I feel maybe disconnected from the game a little bit. But also, I feel I don't want to put in so much more negativity into the space because there has been so much negativity around this game from Arsenal fans themselves. So I guess we could move on, and Ellen kind of, took us to that direction a little bit by talking about other red cards this week. So I think this is time for us to move on about the other games for this match. match day 3, yeah, game week 3, whatever you call it. Um, the week started with, Chelsea and Luton. Um, I mean, I don't. Chelsea did play decently, but they did not play like anything extraordinary. I mean, Luton's not the best of the opposition, but 3 goals against them is still a little bit of a sheen on a scoreline is what I felt.
Yeah, I mean, like it's Luton Town. When you're playing at home against Luton Town, you have to score goals, and you will score goals. It's significant for Chelsea right now because they need a win. Like their game against Liverpool, they played really well, but like they couldn't get a win. And against West Ham, they would want to forget that. So I would say, like, yeah, this was a very much needed win for Chelsea. A team's confidence improves if you get a win, like you whether it's going to continue for the long term this season, that's questionable, but like you need something to start from, so that's a good option for them, and that should be like a good win for them. Two players stood out for me, not two, three. Enzo was pretty good. Sterling was fantastic.
Mhm.
I literally saw the Sterling, like the second year Sterling at under City
Liverpool.
under Pep.
Yeah.
Like not first seasons, but the second season, like he with Arteta, he became sort of a beast. All of a sudden, he would always be there at the right place at the right time, be it a pass or a goal. He was fantastic. So I was very impressed by Sterling and their striker Jackson. They've got a really good striker who's like who has the potential, and for 35 million, that's a really good buy.
Yeah.
He can definitely come good if he manages to keep this consistency throughout the season. I think at the end of the season he would actually be a very important player for them going into the next season. So I don't see any need for them to purchase a striker right now. But well, it's Chelsea. You never know what they do. So it was a really good game for me from Chelsea. Yeah, I was expecting that, but like it was sort of, as a football fan, it was nice to see what was happening on the pitch.
Yeah. The next game, Ellen, is the dreaded, Tottenham win against Bournemouth. I felt Tottenham were a little bit more confident in it. They played as a team, even when they scored, and the celebrations were all like, there was more emphasis on showing that it's still a team, is what I felt. Did you take away anything good from that game? I think Son was decent, but there was no
Oh,
like standout.
not
Yeah.
exactly. Like if you see, right, like two things like that is like making me little bit scary with respect to Tottenham this season is like two players playing well. Like one is Madison and other is Bissouma. They both are like really, really good. Like I think the entire last season, Bissouma was like nowhere to be seen. They were not even starting him regularly. But this season, right, he's like a man possessed. He is like really, really like driving things. And like if this continues and the team starts to gel, right, like it's trouble for other teams. Only good thing for us, like they still have like Richarlison as striker. That is like saving grace for us. Or else, right, like Tottenham is like a force to reckon this season.
I mean, they are right now, what, third in the table, second in the table, third in the table, I
No,
think.
like see, 2-3 weeks, like
Yeah,
you
no,
cannot
I
like
get it. I get it,
yeah,
but
but
it's still like, it's still that uh, for the Tottenham that started this season, the first game they played really bad. To bounce back to this situation, I felt like that was progress.
they were good. They were good. Like the last two games, they were really good. And like that is what I'm saying. Like Madison is like really. There were like some injury scare for them, like to this game, and like this game, like he was one of the major reason why they won, because like Bournemouth was playing really good. It was
Yeah.
not like how Chelsea defeated, even though like Sterling is like in prime form of his like season the last few years. Like he is like, and he's playing really, really good. Even the last game, I was like really impressed with Sterling. But this one, right, like Bournemouth played equally competing, like they were equally competing with like Tottenham Hotspur, and Madison was a big difference there.
I don't. The next game was, the next game I want to talk about is the United game, United and Forest. Forest did get a red card, but they went 2 goals ahead. Which among which, like the I think the second goal or the first goal, the defending was crap. Like
Yeah,
United's defense was literally crap for that goal. The
yeah,
counter attack that the person ran through, they gave up. Like
You know what the funny part was? Like I was watching the Arsenal game at the pub, and this game was playing on the side and on another TV. And instead of keeping quiet, we actually clapped when Forest scored the second goal, only to get dejected at the end to see like United come back for a 3-2. They managed to win. Like I guess like we spoke about at the beginning when we were talking about us, the 3 points is all that matters at this point, right? For the fans, for the first time, I'm actually seeing people go against Ten Hag this season. Like last season, all of them were like totally in love with him in terms of what he did, and the fact that they finished third and had that cup win sort of helped them. But this season, it's been 3 games. They saw the preseason, and I see fans complaining about the lack of identity or lack of playing style, and that's reflecting on the pitch. I don't know if it's because of the fact that they have not made the right transfer moves, or like they have players injured. I don't know what's the reason causing it. Because like ideally, someone like Ten Hag is an experienced manager. You don't compare him with Arteta. Like he's a new manager. You expect more from Ten Hag in a shorter period than what you would expect from Arteta, especially given that he's been given all this money. That's my logic. Like you would expect more from a Pep or a Klopp than what you would expect from a Ten Hag. Similarly, you would expect more from a Ten Hag than what you would expect from an Arteta. So I thought this season they would have a specific identity, but like right now in the first 3 games that I've seen, I've not seen anything. Good on them to win the game, but like yeah, it's a game that could have gone either way.
I mean, I was very impressed with our very own Matt Turner. He had
Yeah,
like a
he
couple
was
of
really
really
good.
good saves. Yeah, they had to like literally take him out in the game. But okay, moving on to the other game, which was like Brighton versus West Ham. Um, it was an interesting watch for me because obviously just last week I was mentioning how Brighton is my second favorite team in the league, and to see them dismantle like that, it just felt like a slap in my face, especially after the Arsenal game. But West Ham played with some kind of, there is a difference in how they are playing. The first game week they were not this team, but last week something changed about West Ham.
No, the difference in West Ham's right. Like if you remember, like our last pod also was saying, like West Ham will be a fourth this year because of one signing, which is like JWP.
JWP.
Yeah.
That is the difference with the big heads, like where like tall defenders, which the West Ham has, right, and with this free kicks speciality, like they will score more goals this season. And like with his Premier League experience, that was like an astute signing. And like with Kudos also like going to join them soon, they will be like showing a lot of things. But that being said, I was like literally surprised Brighton like losing 1-3 on home again.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
Saturday, right, was like I think like except for United, like who won 3-2, even though they were struggling. All the teams, right, like the home teams either lost or draw the game. Or even if you take this entire game week, right, like every team, like except like see Chelsea winning against Luton is like
Given,
expected.
yeah, that's given.
Other than that, like only United has won in home. All of them have lost or like drawn. See,
That's
we
interesting.
losing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
drawing
actually.
2-2 against Fulham. Brentford like drawing 1-1 against Crystal Palace. These are all like games which the home team should have won. See, I'm not talking about Burnley like losing to Aston Villa or like Sheffield losing to City. But even Sheffield, right, they fought till the end. They lost in the injury time only against City too. So
I
the
mean,
home
it's
teams, right,
City
like
at the
were
end of the
struggling.
day. It's City
Yeah,
at the end of the day. They turned out the screw.
yeah, but like I'm not talking about like even the other ones, like where like a clear victory should have happened. Like say if you take Newcastle, they should have definitely won against Liverpool in their home game. With them going into like 10-man losing BBD very early in their game and everything, but still, right, like they also lost. So this was a bad week for the home teams.
I don't about the Newcastle and Liverpool game though, right? Like,
Oh my God, this must have been such a big blow for Newcastle. Like, when you are supposed to be like all of these new boys, you're playing at home, you're playing
and
against a
and
team that
and
was.
also like not just 10 men. Like I thought like it was 9 men because Trent Alexander-Arnold, like he was completely shit in this game, like
Yeah.
literally shit.
It was like, I don't know
Arun,
what's
like I want to ask you one question on that game. Like, should TAA stayed for the 90 minutes?
No.
The
No.
first, like, see, he did like he got his first yellow,
the
right?
problem,
If you
Alan,
remember.
is that I don't think they have another player who can play there.
No. I'm not asking for that. Like, my question is on the refereeing part. Like the
Oh,
first,
yellow. Yeah. That should have been a second yellow.
the second yellow within the first 10 minutes, right? Like, he should have been like this thing. Like, this is where the problem is. Like, I have with the referees this season. Like, I'm okay with them giving more cards, more red cards, I think, but they have to be consistent. Again, that consistency is missing just because like they gave him a yellow card like for something 5 minutes before. Like that was a clear goal scoring opportunity for me at least with the way Newcastle were playing. So
But still, like I'm also happy a little bit about, like, I mean, I'm right now talking as an Arsenal fan and like a petty Arsenal fan. I'm relatively happy that Liverpool won against Newcastle than if Newcastle would have won. I don't know why. Don't ask me why, but I feel like
you should remember that 4-4 Picasso. You should not forget.
No, but still, like in this game, I was happy that, especially we saw that image of Newcastle's assistant manager shushing Klopp. I don't know if it's, I mean, we are reading too much into it or not, but that kind of disrespect, like, I don't think Klopp deserves that. But yeah, that was the game week from us. Quick question to both of you, right? Like, who was the player for this game week, if I have to ask you?
Sterling, Paulinia, and Szoboszlai.
Darwin.
Oh yeah, Darwin. Sorry. More than Szoboszlai, I would say Darwin. Yeah, it's these three, I would say. These are my picks.
Ellen, anyone else from these three?
I will say Fabio Vieira. The simple reason being like all others, right? It was expected with the way Darwin playing in the preseason. It was expected him to start itself, and he couldn't start because of various reasons. And like all of these people, right? Like doing good is something we are expected. Fabio was like completely out of the book or out of the syllabus, so that is why I'm saying him.
Okay, then I'll hold you for the goal of the week. Which one would you say is the goal of the week?
I would say the Rodrigo one because of the timing and like the composure he added. Like, see, it was not a very great goal, but the situation like City was like drawing against Sheffield and like it was an injury time, and with the way he finished it, like it was cool and like calm finish.
Arun?
So for that, like I'm going to him.
For me, it's like actually I liked all the goals from the Liverpool Newcastle game. I never thought I would be saying I liked Anthony Gordon's goal, but like Anthony
It was a
Gordon's
good goal.
was good, and Nunes, both of his goals were actually good.
I think I like the Chelsea one where Sterling dances into the, it's very rare nowadays to see player dancing into the box and scoring, because right now we are into more, team play.
I liked Eddie's goal too. It was like very crucial. It's like it's not an easy goal to score. It might seem like, oh, he's just there. He just has to like stretch his foot and score the goal. But the timing, making sure that he was not offside from that, not wasting that wonderful pass, and at the timing of the game, whatever the game situation demanded, he was able to deliver. So I really like enjoyed that goal too.
Arsenal fan Arun at the end adding Arsenal, a name into the mix. But that's our that's our game week 3 discussion. Let us know your comments on what you think as the best goal or the better player for this week. Anyone we have missed, any game that we have missed to talk about, please do comment in. And as usual, like, share, and subscribe, and reach out to us. That'll be great. And thank you for all your support. We really like doing this, and we appreciate anyone who's supporting us. Thank you so much. Let's talk to you next time.
Thank you.